Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm a little behind on this one, but I wanted to take a look at the Batman #1 preview Ashcan that's from San Diego Comic-Con this year. I know this came out a few weeks ago, but I didn't attend the convention, and so I had to get my copy off of the electronic bay, and I wanted to find one that was in good shape. I noticed a lot of them kind of had some wavy covers, it looks like, which, could be from humidity, and a lot of them had like a little notch here in the upper corner. There's still, if you look real close, there's still a little bit of waviness to this one even, I think, but it's not as bad as it looked on some of the others I saw online, and that seemed to be a pretty common thing with this book. So this is an Ashcan, so it is smaller than a sort of standard size comic. So like here we've got, a recent issue of Batman, and then here's the Ashcan. And so you can kind of see the difference in the size there between those books. And the term Ashcan actually comes from back in the day in like the 40s. They would make a small version of a comic and send it off to get the copyright information and everything, and they would just end up tossing those initial copies, so they ended up in the Ashcan. So that's kind of where that term comes from. Another cool thing I wanted to take a look at here is we've got some corner box art here on the cover. Let's see if we can get that. I think that's focused. So we've seen that recently with some of the Superman titles, and that's all by Dan Mora on those books. So again, this is sort of like an old school thing DC used to do back in like, the 90s that they're bringing back now, which is kind of fun. So let's take a look and see what we have here. So inside front cover, we've got the credits here. And then this starts with the preview of issue #1. And so this is the new volume of Batman that's going to start here in September. And I've been over this before in some of my other videos, but my guess is this is because Hush 2 is kind of running behind. And so this way they can have a Batman title on the stands and still selling monthly while giving Jim Lee time to finish up. And so this preview here is probably actual pages from the first issue. And so there's no dialogue, though, so it's just art. But it is, fully drawn and colored and everything. So we see some cops here out on the street, and we see this older cop that kind of looks like Commissioner Gordon. So like in the current continuity, he's no longer Commissioner Vandal Savages. So I'm assuming this is a continuation of that, where it looks like maybe he's been demoted. Then we have this big figure jumping through the sky here with lightning behind him, sort of Dark Knight Returns-esque. My first thought was that this was Clayface, and part of that's probably due to just kind of the discussion of Clayface in the media right now with the movie being made and that kind of thing. And there's some sort of particles, it looks like, are coming off the figure here. But it looks like this is probably Killer Croc, as we'll see later in the issue here. Then we've got the big splash page here with Batman in his new blue and gray costume. Again, he's been in black and gray since 2000, so for the last 25 years, that's kind of been the standard Batman suit. So it's interesting to see they're going back to the blue and gray. My theory is James Gunn wants a blue and gray Batman for his movies, and so they're reintroducing that here in the comic books, so that if anyone complains later, they can tell the fanboys, oh, it's blue and gray in the book now, so don't be upset, it's accurate to the book. But again, that is sort of the classic version of Batman that we had for decades, and so it's interesting to see it come back here. We also don't have the capsule belt, so we do have more of a pouch belt here, but it has different things loaded onto it, so it's not kind of one or the other with the utility belts there. And then we see Batman talking to this doctor here for a couple pages, and so it looks like we are in the Arkham Towers. Again, I'm not crazy about that. I kind of liked it for that story they did a while back, but I feel like let's get rid of Arkham Tower here. Let's get back to the asylum, or maybe something more interesting. I've just never been able to really reconcile the fact that there's these two giant towers in the middle of the city that house all the, dangerous lunatics. And again, I think it works good for the Arkham Tower story they did a while back, but let's wrap that up. So then we've got this big 2-page spread of Batman kind of, I won't say flying, because he's probably not flying. It's probably like a glider wing kind of thing, because again, they're always apprehensive about having Batman actually fly. And then it looks like we've got some news reports here going on, talking about different things in Gotham. Now it looks like we have a briefing here with the police, and it looks like Vandal Savage is still the commissioner here, and it looks like he's talking to some different cops. Then we have a new Batmobile here. So it looks like Batman's almost talking to Alfred's ghost here or something, but apparently that's an AI that they've made now of Alfred that'll be in this book. So kind of a way to bring him back without literally bringing him back from the dead. Kind of surprised he's still dead, to be honest. It's been a few years now. When that happened, I didn't think Alfred would be dead for this long. So that's it for the sort of preview. Now we've got some sort of design pages here, kind of what they're thinking about, sort of talking about the new costume. Here we get a clearer look at the utility belt and the different things that are loaded on it. This is interesting here, I think, too. It's a note about the sort of scallops on the edge of the cape, showing, you know, it's not the curved, it's more of a diagonal straight line, kind of a spiky pattern there to it, which again is, you know, different from how most artists draw it. And we've got some sort of silhouettes here of like how the cape looks. And it looks like we're getting a new costume for Robin too. I don't know that I've seen that before this. Everyone's going on about Batman's new costume and the Batmobile and stuff. I don't know that they have shown this before this book here. And it looks like we're getting a redesign of Anarchy. And then this here is Killer Croc. So we've got sort of like the more traditional looking Killer Croc, and then the sort of further mutated version here. It's interesting, they did something like this in Hush back in the day too, the original version, not the Hush 2 that's going on now. So it's kind of interesting seeing them bring that idea back here. And it looks like we've got some other characters called the Creeps, and we've got some design work for them, and like maybe a logo here it looks like. And then we see some sort of layouts here for the pages in the preview issue here. So it looks like the police officer we see at the beginning is Ezzy, and then the doctor we saw is named Anna at Arkham Towers. Then we have an interview here with Matt Fraction, so he's the new writer, kind of talking about what he's going to be doing with his Batman book here, and kind of what their plans are moving forward. And then here's a bunch of variant covers for issue number 1. I've already pre-ordered some of these, so it's kind of nice having a little checklist here for them. And this isn't all. There's going to be a lot more. And then looks like we have covers here of some of the other Batman books that are coming out and going to be available soon. So, again, more stuff for you to pick up. And then we just have the logo on the back here with this little quote, "Some creatures do in fact change," in the DC logo. So that's everything there in the preview issue from San Diego. And so this is, you know, the new series. It's going to be written by Matt Fraction and drawn by Jorge Jimenez. I really like Fraction's run on Hawkeye. It's kind of the only Hawkeye story worth reading as far as I'm concerned. And I liked his run on Jimmy Olsen. I know everybody likes his run on Iron Man, but I'd never read too much of that. Eddie and Jorge Jimenez has kind of been drawing Batman off and on for a while now. So this looks like a more standard kind of classic look to Batman as far as the art anyway. It doesn't feel overly digital, even though I know he draws digitally. So I don't feel like he's leaning into that as much with this work. Again, we'll see where that goes. I don't mind that. You know, it's something different, but we'll see where this goes. And that kind of goes to my point here of like, this feels like a much more traditional kind of Batman story. We're starting over with a new number 1. But we've got the same kind of status quo, it looks like, from the books that we've had previously, where Savage is still commissioner. I'm assuming Batman, you know, doesn't have his money anymore that, you know, as Bruce Wayne. Again, we've still got the Arkham Towers hanging around, so I don't know if I really feel like this is going to be a good number 1. So we're kind of starting over with the numbering, but I don't know that the story warrants this. If we're just continuing the previous continuity and everything that was going on, why do we really need a new series? Again, back to my conspiracy theory of giving Jim Lee, again, who is the boss of DC at this point, time to finish his story. Not to say this will be a bad book. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm going to bet Matt Fraction has some really good Batman ideas. I just don't know if I'm seeing it yet here in this preview issue. And again, you know, presumably they're not giving away the whole thing in the preview issue. If there's any big twist in issue number 1, it'll be in issue number 1, not necessarily this convention exclusive preview. So again, you know, I collect Batman. I'm going to get these no matter what. I think it'll be a good book. I'm just not sure how good it's going to be by this preview here. So yeah, have you checked this out? Did you get a copy of this? What do you think? Do you have any predictions about the new Batman series coming out? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter/X at Detective651, also on Instagram at Detective651. Be sure to check out my t-shirt store at tpublic.com/user/Detective651. I've got a lot of nerdy designs on there, and there's sales all the time, so check it out frequently.